Fat loss. Most dads that I talk to think that in order to actually lose fat effectively, you have to start cutting out your carbs, you have to have crazy restrictive diets, and you have to eat the same bland, plain meal every single day. But here's the truth, man. You don't have to have this super strict policy or diet that you follow. You just want to have an actual system and a process that you know can predictably lead to fat loss. And in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly that. I'm going to show you, rather than doing the all or nothing approach, how you can make small, subtle changes that actually lead to fat loss and will actually help you still get the body recomposition that you want without these extreme diets. And if I were to go ahead and guess, you probably have done something like that. You probably have done some form of keto or some form of cutting out your carbohydrate or some 30-day meal cookie cutter plan, or probably intermittent fasting where you just didn't eat for a certain period of the day because you're trying to figure out what works best for you. And sure, it probably did work for a few weeks, but then when life got busy, when family events, birthday parties, business events, things like that came up, you started to feel guilty or shameful, or how do you even piece this stuff together, because you didn't have an actual, and you just got tired of eating like a robot, for lack of better words. And that's why most people end up doing the yo-yo, because something triggers them to where they want to get into better shape, they want to start feeling better. Maybe it's the way you put on a polo, a sweater, or you saw yourself in a photo or a mirror, and then you begin to realize, my goodness, I need to lock in. So then you lock in, you start making some changes to cut out the carbs, you clean up, and then you fall off. And most people that I talk to, whenever they're trying to get lean, the very first thing that they go to is what the old bodybuilder method was. They start eating chicken, they start eating rice, they start counting out and portioning out their sizes of their meals. And then you realize that's just not sustainable for a long period of time. And you have that mentality of this has to be perfection or nothing. So it doesn't have to be that way. Think of it kind of like being on a budget. Like, you can still spend money, but you just have to manage your money in different categories so that you can still enjoy yourself. And nutrition works the exact same way. You still have plans for the big rocks, your mortgage, your payments that are larger and expensive, but you still prioritize other things that you want to enjoy in your life. So let me teach you how to actually make that effective for you when it comes to your nutrition. So as you know, we got protein, we got carbs, and we got fats. The very first thing that I want you to think of, and don't do what most people do, which is they don't prioritize protein early in the day. So come nighttime, you end up overeating and you're stuffed and you feel like you need to eat as much as possible. Now, if you can flip this and you can prioritize 30 grams of protein at breakfast, you can have some eggs, you can have some egg whites, you can have some smoothie, put some hemp seeds in it, some protein powder. Like, pack your protein in the morning. This is gonna help regulate your blood sugar. It's gonna help give you satiation to help you start making you feel full. So that come lunchtime, another good target would be come lunchtime, can you already be at 100 grams of protein before 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock? A lot of you guys, one of the things you could even start by doing is having an idea of how much protein you are taking in. So instead of thinking about calories from the jump, prioritize protein, and prioritizing protein early in your day is gonna make you feel full. I bet later on in the day, you'll end up eating less because you aren't as full because you're more satiated. And the same thing when it comes to carbohydrates. I don't want you to think of carbohydrates as your enemy, but rather prioritize when you're gonna have carbs around your workout. So for example, if you're gonna work out here, you want to have carbohydrates here before, and you want to have carbohydrates right after. One, you do it before so that you have enough glycogen, so that you have enough energy, so that you can have a freaking fantastic workout. If you're low on carbs, you're going to be low on energy, you're going to get dizzy, your head's going to start hurting, and you're not going to feel like you're able to push the way you want to push. In order to create physical adaptation and for your body to change, you have to train really, really hard. So make sure you're having carbs before, and then you want to have carbs afterwards so that you can actually replenish your hard work and your body can begin to repairing itself, which is why it's equally important to have carbs and protein. Because if you are working out and you're not optimizing your main window here, carbs and protein, you're not getting yourself in a recovery state as quickly as possible. And I talk about this all the time, but physical, mental, and emotional stress, your body does not know the difference in the three. So when it comes to stress, we want to get your body outside of that challenging workout, which is a high stress environment. We want to get it into a recovery state as quickly as possible. So we can do that by taking a few minutes to stretch or walk after your workout, but also by optimizing your nutrition, telling your body, I need to begin to start recovering. And if you know that you are gonna be busy for the rest of the day and you know you're not gonna be able to eat for a long time, it is better to prioritize complex carbohydrates because those have more fiber. They're gonna keep you full for longer, so that if you worked out here and you know you're not gonna be able to eat until here, that's a long window. So instead of having white rice, for example, or white potatoes, you would have brown rice or some type of quinoa. So that would keep you full for longer. So come dinner time, you're not like, I need to eat everything in sight. This will keep you satiated for longer so that when this time comes around, dinner time, you aren't ravenous. When it comes to your fats, do not cut out your fats. You still need to have, 80% of your foods coming from whole foods and 20% is gonna be, part of your life. But you don't need to be perfect, but you cannot skip out on fats. Fats are essential for your hormones, especially if you're in your 30s and 40s and you're trying to optimize your testosterone. Like, you gotta have this stuff for your function of your health. Avocados, some nuts, things like that, but do not skip out on healthy fats. If there was a time you were gonna skip out on fats, I would say have that be around your workout time where you can prioritize carbohydrates and sugar, but don't prioritize fat after your workout. That'll just slow down your digestion. So that's some of the nutrition side of things. Now, when it actually comes to body recomposition, there's a couple of things. In order to lose fat, I'm talking about specifically fat loss as opposed to weight loss. There's a couple of things. Your calories, most people want to go immediately to a 300 to 500 deficit. This is gonna be a lot on your body very quickly. If you look at this at the long haul, which is what I want you to do, you'll be a lot more sustainable, it'll be a lot more effective, smaller. I'm talking 150 to 250 calories in a deficit. That's it. Because here's the deal. If you can work out hard, and you can be in a small deficit. A deficit is still a deficit. You're not gonna have to make these radical changes. And then if we can increase your step count. So one, most people wanna ask them what your average step count is. You can't tell me. So figure out what your 30-day average is on your steps, and then if you're at 6,800, set a goal, a small goal, to just increase it. Can you, awareness number one is start to get some awareness of what your steps are. Awareness number two is make a small, subtle change to increase the step count. And then from there, that's important because it is a low intensity way to increase activity. If you're training hard, if you're doing strength training 2 to 4 days a week and you're in a deficit of 150 to 250, your body is going to be, it's going to be wanting to push, it's going to be wanting to reserve itself because you're in a deficit. So if you start doing strength training as opposed to HIIT training when you're in a deficit is going to be very challenging because it's going to leave your body depleted, which is why you must continue to prioritize protein. Because if you're not prioritizing protein and you're in a deficit, your body's gonna try to get rid of the protein, it's gonna try to get rid of muscle, for lack of better words, because your body is trying to preserve everything it has. And muscle requires more caloric expenditure. It raises your metabolic rate. So if you're not prioritizing protein, if you're not getting enough protein, your body's gonna wanna get rid of the muscle because having more muscle requires you to eat more calories. And if you're in a deficit, your body doesn't like that. So, strength training 2 to 4 days a week while prioritizing protein and just increasing your step count because it's a low intensity activity that doesn't require too much more expenditure. I gave this to one of my clients recently, and in fact, this is a plan that many guys come to me for fat loss. He thought he had to give up his carbs. He thought he had to do this, low carb diet is the only way that he's ever lost fat before. And now, we prioritize his carbohydrates around his workout. He's getting better workouts, and now the dude's down 30 pounds. He's not only gained strength in his lifts, but he also has more energy throughout the day too. And that's the power of having structure and a plan with your nutrition as opposed to just being reactive. And this is why I'm a huge fan of hybrid training, because it's a system. It's not bodybuilding. It's not just running like a bird and being really fast. It's coupling and learning how to do what I call it functional bodybuilding or call it hybrid training, whatever you want to do it. But these two work hand in hand to give you both the desired body recomposition that you want, the energy that you want, and when it's coupled with the right nutrition, it allows you to feel better too. So it all works together. So stop relying on the fad diets. Start making choices around your workouts that would lead you to have better performance, feel better, and help you lose the fat. found this video helpful for you, or if you have additional questions, make sure you subscribe, because I am in the middle of a 30-day challenge for myself where I'm posting one YouTube video a day about everything that I can think about hybrid training for athletes, for dads in their 30s to 40s, because they don't have the time they used to. They can't do the CrossFit classes. They don't have the time to go to classes, but you still want to look good, feel good, and have the energy to play with your kids. And if you want me to build you a personalized hybrid training method where I break all this down for you and give you a personalized plan, check out the description down below, and we'll talk about what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, and we'll see if we can make something work out for you. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll check you out in tomorrow's video.